In the sun-scorched sprawl of a Phoenix suburb, Clara Hensley believed in the understated power of precision. Not the kind that demanded rigid schedules or polished perfection, but the kind that lived in the small, vital details: a door that shut with a satisfying click, a lock that turned smoothly, or the stark clarity of an address number painted boldly on a curb. After 25 years orchestrating emergency dispatch in the city's chaotic heart, Clara had retired to a modest single-story home in a quiet Arizona neighborhood, where the streets were wide, the lawns manicured, and the silence felt like a promise of peace. The house wasn't pristine, its shutters were chipped, its lawn a touch unruly, but it had sturdy bones and a low-slung roof that whispered of resilience. Clara didn't chase beauty. She chased function. So, before she'd even unpacked her dishes, she knelt at her curb in the pre-dawn cool, painting her address 1346 Sagebrush Lane in crisp, reflective white. 3 coats sealed against the desert's wrath, each stroke deliberate. This wasn't about pride. It was about survival. She'd spent her career knowing that a single unclear digit could steal precious seconds, that ambulances didn't save lives if they couldn't find the door. Her new neighborhood was a study in order. Mailboxes gleamed, driveways sparkled, and the air carried the faint hum of sprinklers. It was the kind of place where people fled the city's noise, where silence wasn't standoffish but respectful. Clara fit in quietly. She swept her porch, nodded to joggers, and pulled her trash bins in before dusk. She didn't crave block parties or small talk, but she understood systems, respected their rhythms. That's why, 9 days after moving in, the sight of her curb stopped her cold. She'd just returned from the grocery store, bags heavy in her hands. When she noticed it, her numbers were gone. Not faded, not scuffed, but buried under a thick layer of matte gray paint. In their place, faint beige digits thin, off-center, barely visible mocked her careful work. It wasn't vandalism. It was deliberate, controlled, like someone had rewritten her identity with a steady hand. Clara's keys dangled, her pulse quickening. Who would do this? Why? She checked county codes. Her numbers were legal, purposeful, designed for sirens in the dark. No notice, no warning, just this quiet erasure. The answer came strolling down the sidewalk 20 minutes later, wrapped in a VY sore screaming saw, neighborhood pride saw, and orthopedic sandals. Susan Whitaker, a broad-shouldered woman in her 60s with steel-gray curls and a smile that stretched without warmth, approached like a diplomat on a mission. "Oh, hello," she chirped, as if they'd shared coffee before. "I'm Susan, from 3 doors down. I meant to welcome you, but well, things get busy coordinating our Curb Unity project." Clara blinked. "Curb Unity?" Susan gestured at the street like a game show host. "We've been standardizing the numbers. The mismatched styles were so chaotic. Hard for delivery drivers, you know? So we took care of yours. No charge." Clara's gaze dropped to the beige smudges. "You did this?" Susan's smile tightened. "I oversee the effort. Volunteers handle the painting. It's for harmony." "Harmony?" Clara's voice was low, deliberate. "Emergency services need clear numbers. GPS isn't enough. These are invisible at night." Susan waved a hand. "Oh, honey, those trucks have tech now. You're new, so you might not know our style guide." Clara's fingers tightened on her bags. "You've compromised my home's safety." Susan's eyes flickered, but her tone stayed sweet. "It's about community, dear. You'll see." Clara didn't reply. She turned, shut her door with a click, and felt the first spark of something she hadn't felt in years: defiance. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Clara sat by her window, watching headlights sweep the street, noting how drivers slowed, hesitated, then sped past her driveway. She'd spent decades cutting through case-panicked voices, garbled addresses, lives hanging on her clarity. Now, some busybody with a paint roller had undone it all for saw aesthetics saw. Worse, she'd done it with the neighborhood's blessing. The next morning, sirens woke her. Not loud, but close, weaving through the dawn. Clara was up before her feet hit the floor, her old instincts alive. Peering through her blinds, she saw red and white lights flashing 2 houses down. An ambulance sat skewed in front of the Larson place, medics rushing, a cop shouting at the curb. Something was wrong. Clara slipped outside, staying back but listening. Neighbors gathered, whispering. A paramedic's words cut through. She was breathing when we got the call. If we'd hit the right address first. Clara's stomach twisted. The wrong address. She knew the math 5 minutes could be fatal. The call had gone to 1346, her house, but the emergency was at 1348. Her curb, with its faint numbers, had misled them. Back inside, Clara's laptop hummed to life. She logged into a private dispatch forum, her credentials still active, and pulled the call log. It confirmed her fear, a 5-minute delay, responders sent to her curb first. She emailed a former colleague, asking about curb viewability protocols. The reply was swift. Still critical in dense suburbs. No clear number, no fallback. Clara didn't hesitate. She drove to a hardware store, bought reflective paint, stencils, and UV sealant, and repainted her numbers under the midday sun. Thicker, bolder, unmistakable. This wasn't rebellion. It was restoration. 2 days later, an unmarked envelope appeared in her mailbox. Inside, 2 sentences in stark font. Saw your curb vy olat sagebrush lanes vy sole identity. Correct within 48 hours or face re-vyew. Saw no signature, no seal, just a veiled threat. Clara's anger simmered, not wild but precise. She photographed the note, emailed the city's liaison office to log it, and locked her mailbox. Susan wasn't subtle anymore. Whispers spread, saw neighborhood cohesion, saw aesthetic flows, saw repeated like a script. Then came the trash. Clara woke to find her bins overturned, bags ripped, garbage strewn across her lawn. On her recycling lid, in sloppy spray paint, saw conformed saw. She cleaned it, photographed it, and added it to her growing file, now labeled saw sagebrush pattern saw. Next, an Amazon package vanished, delivered to her address, across the street, only to reappear, opened and resealed. Petty but pointed. She was being watched, corrected. The escalation hit with a formal letter from the Community Standards Committee, a group Clara hadn't known existed. It cited her non-compliant curb and summoned her to a vague meeting. No city seal, just a P.O. box and a logo. Clara requested fire department guidelines, reviewing PDFs on contrast and viewability. She logged patrol routes, documented patterns, and waited. Then, a laminated sign appeared on her lawn, saw warning, unapproved curb markings. Re-vyew pending. Saw it screamed authority but lacked substance. Clara removed it, photographed it, and kept her numbers untouched. The meeting came, held in a fluorescent-lit rec hall. Susan led, flanked by clipboard-wielding allies preaching about cohesion. Photos of beige curbs circulated, then Clara's white, bold, glaring. Murmurs stirred. Susan claimed consistency aided emergencies. Clara stood, voice steady. That's false. Emergency services need contrast, not decoration. The fire department backs this. I have their guidelines. Want copies? The room shifted. Doubt crept in. Susan laughed, brittle. Let's compromise. Clara didn't reply. She'd already won ground. Then, a city complaint arrived, stamped by Mesa's compliance office, citing her curb. Anonymous, of course. Clara called, learning it came via neighborhood portal. The inspection was perfunctory. The inspector, weary, hinted it was noise, not substance. But Susan's tactics grew darker. Graffiti near Clara's curb spelling saw disorder, defiance, disgrace saw. Flyers with QR codes pushed a petition, using Clara's curb as a VY lane. Clara countered with facts, sending her EVY denke to the mayor's liaison, who shut down the petition's misuse of her property. The final act came at dawn. Clara woke to a gut feeling, peering out to find her numbers scraped off, her solar light snapped, and new bay digits sprayed in haste. She photographed it, emailed the Department of Public Safety, and waited. That night she caught Susan, spray can in hand, stenciling over her curb. "Susan," Clara said, calm. Susan dropped the can, paint hissing. "I'm fixing what you broke," she spat. Clara stepped closer, phone recording. "This is vandalism. It's unsafe. You're caught." Sirens hummed. The police came, bagged the EVY Denke, and asked if Clara wanted charges. "Yes," she said. "Not for vengeance, but for consequence." Susan returned home, but her grip was gone. Her signs vanished, her petition died, her allies faded. Clara's case sparked citywide curb guidelines, rooted in safety, not sameness. Her numbers glowed, a quiet testament to clarity. Sagebrush Lane didn't cheer her, but it saw her rooted, resolute, unbreakable. Peace, Clara knew, wasn't silence. It was the strength left when the storm cleared, and her curb stood firm, glowing in the dusk.